Good morning, Carl. Good morning, Carl. Can you hear us?
I think he interprets it as you plow every 2 inches.
Whenever he feels like it.
When I got home, I had to shovel 2
My eyes are
inches.
so bad. They're
He
like,
had already
Heidi?
been there like earlier.
Can I have you pull your microphone in?
Yep.
Yeah,
just that.
thank you.
That's why I went with.
Hope you don't mind me asking.
I'm tired of all these meetings.
That's true.
I'm ready for this. If the water's frozen or not, then it comes back.
I have one more yet today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll be working today, unless you gotta go. Oh, you get drifts and crap down there.
Well, we're kind of protected in our sub, but we'll get a bunch of snow there and then I'll drive to the station, which is 5 miles away, and there won't be, it'll just get dusty.
Yeah, you live down there in that subdivision.
It was all right then. I know where you live because I used to live.
Hey, Carl, can you unmute for a minute?
Well, here's my notes from when you had to set it up. Would you like a copy?
For some reason, we can't hear you, Carl.
Go all the way to the end. Moving on the hill, we get crap and I could never get up the hill. Yep. Which is nice.
That last August storm, I got trapped in
Can
there.
you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Wow.
So can you see down at the bottom of the screen, the raise hand function?
Yes.
Okay, as we've had a couple of observations that didn't appear, which that's a function, a basic function of Zoom, so it should be there. Great, thank you for confirming its location.
Oh, I found the mute button over in the corner here. So finally,
Are you trying to say I should quit talking, Carl?
yeah, I can turn it off. So if I want to say something, I can turn it back on.
All right, we would appreciate that just in case you have a dog that wants to talk to you today.
Okay.
So we got 9 a.m. Heidi, are you good to go?
Yep.
Cheryl?
Yep.
Ardella?
Yes.
Zoom? All right, so we'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Good morning. Roll call when ready.
How about the pledge?
I'm sorry, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, what if we do roll call?
Bennett, here, Goss, here, Pat,
Here,
Bowman.
Yes, here.
any conflicts of interest this morning?
I'm sorry, I do have an agenda adjustment.
Okay,
I would like to add, probably under unfinished business, an update on the ARPA reporting.
that is number one, unfinished business.
Oh, okay, all right. For some reason, yeah, there were no documents, so I'm sorry. Good, we don't
I
need to
think
add
that
that
was
then.
my fault. I tried to send them to you and I don't think they got through.
No worries. So is that okay?
Yep,
Okay, good. Anything else? And conflict of interest, no submissions there. All right, so we are in our first public comment. How about if we go out to Zoom land? Good morning, Vicky.
Good morning. How's everybody doing on this snowy morning?
Good so far. Nice and sunny where I'm at.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for your time and service. You are stewards and fiduciaries for our township and our township money. And again, duty of loyalty and care along the way. I do have a question that maybe could come up. I want to attend some of these meetings because of some things that are going on. And our board meetings are at 9 o'clock. I'm a business owner. I'm also work full-time. And I feel that having it at this time is discouraging some public participation for those of us that work. Looked at a lot of the other townships, and a lot of them, their meetings are at night. So just wanted to put that out for thought. But the main purpose of my discussing today is, as the board, to please listen to the community about how our area is developed, how important it is for us to make sure that we're listening to the community and the master plan is taken into account. We all live here or bought here for the rural feel and community. And the master plan states 4 goals for our township. Goal number 2 being preserving Whitewater Township's rural character. Some of you may be aware that there is a preliminary plan in place for a site condo on 30 acres on Baggs Road that will have 22 individual homes. Full disclosure, I recently purchased property on Baggs Road, and obviously I'm very concerned about this potential development, but it's not just going to be Baggs Road. It's going to be our entire community. And I really want us to be having purposeful development. I am not saying I'm the last one in and to shut the door and there's no more development, but that we are keeping our master plan in mind. The developer was asked at the Planning Commission meeting last week if there would be green space or trees planted, and the answer was no. As a matter of fact, they're taking out a lot of very mature trees, and it will be up to the individual homeowner to put in trees. So we are definitely taking away from our rural feel. We have an entity from Grand Rapids that I believe is threatening our master plan of preserving the rural character of our area. As I mentioned in the beginning, I thank you for your time and contributions to your township's well-being. Thank you.
Thank you. And I thought, I see a hand up with Connie Highmore. Good morning, Connie. Thank you for raising your hand, and I see that you have unmuted, so welcome to Whitewater Township.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. I also would like to voice my concern about the condo development. My husband and I, Frank Highmore, we are against the proposed Baggs Road condominium development. The Whitewater Township zoning ordinance, Article 25.12, paragraph O states, all land uses and developments shall conform with the applicable goals, policies, and objectives in the township master plan. We stand on the firm ground of the importance of that document that you guys are all working so hard to make adjustments to in this 5-year review. When I attended the Planning Commission meeting last Wednesday, I think it was March 2nd, we were kind of all led to believe that that document isn't really important, that it's just a guideline, that it really doesn't mean anything. And when I read that document, that is not what it says to me. It says to me that that is your firm foundation. That is what you want for your community. And I believe if this proposed condo development is allowed to proceed, a new precedence will be set, and this beautiful, rural, peaceful community will soon be nothing more than a suburb of Traverse City. The Whitewater Township Master Plan will be worth less than the paper it's printed on. I implore you, members of the Township Board, please help us say no to condo developments in Whitewater Township. Thank you. Thanks for your time. I appreciate everything that you all do.
Thank you. Good morning, Carl. Do you have any public comment this morning?
You on there?
No, no, I do not have any this morning.
Very good, Carl. Thank you. And so we'll move to the township board here, or township hall. Any public comment in township hall? Hearing none, we will move forward. Reports and presentations. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning. I just want to announce that this morning I was in charge of weather. I was not in charge of the weather yesterday. So I'll take full credit for the sunshine, as any good politician would do. So I don't have a lot to report from the county. Kind of the two things.
So you're going to be short?
It's going to be short, yeah. 45 minutes or less, I promise. Actually, I got to leave and get back to work too. So other work. Northern Lakes Community Mental Health is a 6-county mental health organization that we are by far the largest contributor to it in Grand Traverse County, the next being Leelanau County. We're almost 700,000. Leelanau County is about 150. No one is saying that things are really good with the services being provided by Northern Lakes, Michigan County Mental Health, Community Mental Health. So that's been a concern. We did there was a search for a new director. One was found, an offer was made. They couldn't come to an agreement, and that fell through. The board, thinking that there was going to be a new director coming on, approved 2 board members to extend their term and continue on. We reappointed them, thinking that that would provide some continuity, and then the agreement fell through. So now we're going to revisit those appointments, and what we're doing is we're kind of revisiting the whole Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. Like, what do we need? What needs to be done here? So we're kind of developing a list of what we'd like to see happen, what we'd like to see, what results we'd like to see, and we're looking at all our options. So we're not happy with the services being provided. We're talking to surrounding counties, we're talking to the board, and you'll probably hear more about that, but that's what's going on. It's just not working. So we need to do something, and maybe it's something different. Maybe we can do something internally. So we don't want to blow it all up, but it's not working right now. So you'll hear more about that. The other thing, the Record Eagle is kind of saying that we are operating secretly with public sector consultants on the ARPA money. And there's a committee that administration has appointed 11 people from the community to work on developing the architecture and the structure, how we're going to get public input, governmental input, and kind of the process moving forward. Those are administrative meetings. There's no deliberation of how to spend a penny. It's just setting up the process they're going to go forward. Then they bring that to the board, and the full board would then accept or ask questions or change how that process moves forward. So there is nothing is being done. There's no process, there's no decision, no deliberation, no spending of anything. We're having an administration like so many other things. You set it aside, work on the thing, and then it'd be like having everything the clerk does brought in front here, voted on, or it's not the way to do it. So in spite of what the Record Eagle is doing, I'm really comfortable with that process. It'll come to the meeting. We'll discuss it, make any changes, any suggestions. At that point, it'll be fully public. And as I've said many times, I'm not going to come to this meeting and say, well, you already spent the money. Sorry, you guys didn't get a chance to hear anything about it. And we also have seen continued changes, sometimes weekly, on the ARPA funding requirements. It's 400 pages at this point, so it's not uncomplicated, as surprising as it is coming from the federal government. But so we know that, and that money is supposed to be spent by 2024. And I'm almost going to assure you that that's not going to be the case. They're going to change that, and they're opening it up. One thing the county did do is we could take $10 million, up to $10 million. They kind of did a blanket all over and pull it out and set it aside. So we did that because that gives us a little more freedom on what to do with that money. Not a penny of it's been spent, but we pulled 10 million out and put it in a restricted fund that still has to follow all the requirements of ARPA, but it streamlines the process. But that wasn't, we're not putting that in the budget. It's not going to the commissioners. It's just there, ready for our process.
That's what we heard.
That's what I'm
We
telling
did the
you.
same with our 10 million.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Up to 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys got a lot of need for it. Let me know how that 10 million gets spent. That'd be interesting. Any questions?
What are the problems, just vaguely, with the mental health services? Mental health.
Primarily, both Leelanau County and Grand Traverse County Jail, they contract the services. They're contracted and required to do the services for mental health in the jails. And there has been zero. That's a problem.
That's a
As you can
problem.
imagine, like 40% of the people in the Grand Traverse County Jail require mental health. There's this sheet they go down and do some checking to kind of that. So it's not just, well, we think that guy needs mental health. There's actually a document design that they flow through and they track. And 40% of our inmates need mental health. And so we have contracted on our own with a company to provide mental health services. So we're having to pay for that separately. Leelanau County had the same exact frustration. It's just not happening. Lots of reasons why from mental health and some of the other services just within the community. It spending an awful lot of money. We want to make sure that we're spending it right. It's taxpayer money. So
Community mental health, I'm familiar with them because
Mhm.
my niece is developmentally and physically handicapped. I'm her guardian.
mhm,
And we do annual updates, actually more than that. And she's had several turnovers of her people from community mental health.
mhm.
Just got a call from an agency out of Saginaw that's been hired by the state of Michigan. Basically, they're doing a report card on the community mental health. Would you like that contact information?
I would, yeah, send that to me. I'd be curious to see it.
Because there's got to be somebody you can talk to about the level of quality or lack of service.
Mhm. And I also want to, like, if I come in and like look at your organization and just say, well, you're not doing everything right. I want to be able to base that on something. We're not just saying, well, we're not happy with the service, but why is that? Is it because it's hard to get help right now? Is the funding not enough? Is the,
Right.
we're looking at all that. Just to say, well, you're not doing anything right. And therefore you're no good is not what we're saying.
They're not paying enough. They're losing people.
Yeah. And
That's what I was told.
yeah. And we've been told that too by pretty much every organization. I mean, I think we're all having that problem. I don't know anyone who isn't having a hard time finding help, except for the fire department. You guys have more firefighters you know what to do with, don't you? But every organization's having that issue. So that's part of it. So, and I don't know I don't know what the wages are in community mental health. I don't know if they're right or not. So we're not saying they're just,
That contact information.
yeah, it'd be good to have. We're not saying that they're bad or that we're just saying the services from the receiving end, we're not happy
I would think
with.
that somebody would want to do a survey with the county, since you must be a very big employer for community mental health. I would think somebody would want to know if you're satisfied or not with the services.
Mhm.
Northern Lakes
Absolutely.
is a contract company out of Cadillac, right?
Yeah,
Northern
not a-
Lakes.
yeah,
I'm sorry?
It's Northern Lakes
yeah, Northern Lakes
What did I
Community
say?
Mental Health.
Lights.
No, I thought you said Lakes, but yeah, it is out of Cadillac and
They have separate branches.
have meetings down there and and I forget all the 6 counties, but so we might be sticking with them. We're just gonna, everything's on the table at this point,
Good.
which is for that much money, that's what we should be doing anyway. So any other questions about anything?
I do. About the ARPA funds, I am hoping that some of those funds will flow to Whitewater Township. And how can I stay up to date on the conversation that's going on about funds that will come to townships?
I'm gonna be reporting every month on what we're doing, and we haven't obviously
Okay.
started that yet.
Okay,
And a lot of that conduit from the townships is gonna be through your representative, your district person, which would be me in
Okay.
your case.
yeah, okay,
So I'll keep you guys
okay,
up to date and what's
okay.
happening.
All right, and what
and-
we might need to do to, you know,
Right.
get some of those funds directed to us.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know how that looks yet.
Yeah, I get
So-
it.
And I think a couple of members of the board, your board, will be present at the April MTA meeting to discuss this very thing with MTA members.
Yeah,
Now, I don't know if you're going to come to.
I'm planning on coming. I don't remember the date right now.
The
but I'm-
conference you're
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah, it's the last
have-
week of April.
I have it in my
No.
calendar.
No, he's talking about the
The
luncheon.
MTA meeting is the first, I believe, well, I should check. And I don't. didn't
Yeah,
bring my phone
I
out.
think I have it in my
That's
calendar
Fox, right?
Yes.
back there,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, that,
I'm
the
planning on
local
attending.
MTA.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
the local chapter.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
And that kind of was, the supervisors wanted to get some direct input, and so
Right,
the
yeah.
county was invited to that, and
Okay.
we
good.
agreed to, that'd be a good idea. I mean, the communication back and forth is key on this, I think,
You bet.
as we've mentioned. Oh, the one last thing I was gonna say, thought I was gonna be brief. The road commission report that came out, I was on vacation when that came out. I haven't looked at it yet. I can't speak to it, but I know it has provided some consternation, especially in District 6. I think it's really important. So I will be getting up to speed on that and be able to speak about it. I'm not there yet. Haven't done it.
Would you like me to send you the doodle poll? We're going to have a sit-down meeting with the road commission. You're welcome to join
I'd
us.
love to be.
I'm sure you have other opportunities to join them, but you're welcome to hear their information with us if you
I
would
would,
like.
yeah, I would very much like to
I will send
be
you that
involved in
poll.
that. So,
Very good.
and I'm going to be talking to Jason Gilman, the road commissioner, and getting his thoughts. And so right now I just can't speak to it because I don't know nothing. I'm like Sergeant Schultz. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Daryl. Be safe today. And thanks for the sunshine.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, good morning, Chief, Fire Chief Brandon Flynn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So even though it was a short month, we were still kind of busy. 10 emergency calls. We are up probably 70% from last year's total at this time, and I'm keeping a close eye on that. I'm not sure what's going on. It kind of looks like the trend is EMS assists with our ambulance and Acme for the first 12 hours. We're still kind of working through that and working out some of the kinks. But other than that, the meetings were all held, except for LPT that was canceled. I do have some bad news. We're losing another firefighter on April 16th. Matthew Copeland is leaving us and moving to Puerto Rico, I guess.
All right.
So we're kind of dealing with that. That's 2 guys here in the last 6 months. Other than that, we did take delivery of the chief's vehicle finally. It's been a long year. And we're still waiting on the cabin chassis order. They're, I guess, as talking to Gorno Ford, the state contract for the F-550s, they have Ford Fleet is still working on the pricing for the 2023 model years, and then they'll start taking orders for that. That's about it. I have nothing further for you.
Anybody have questions for Chief?
What does LPT stand for? I know I've heard it, but
Local planning team,
okay.
and they did recently change the name of that. So I'll have to ask Greg Bird what the new name is.
Who's on that? Like, what- fire chiefs and
Yep,
emergency
state police,
manager?
sheriff's department,
Okay,
kind of the
local law
local
enforcement.
emergency response team that would be responding to large disasters.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for your work as always.
All right, thank you.
Planning Commission report. I don't see Kim. But Carl is there. Do we want to see if he is prepared to give a report or? Good morning, Carl. Do you have anything to report on Planning Commission business?
I could report that we had we approved the change of the Sun Brothers.
I can't.
Carl,
I can't
Carl,
hear.
can we have you move a little closer to your microphone, please?
Yes,
That's
Can you
much
hear
better.
okay.
I didn't catch any of what you said.
You've muted yourself now accidentally.
Now can you hear me?
That's
That,
better.
that button's in a different place than it was before. We approved the change of the Sun Brothers store to a veterinary clinic. And we had an informal presentation from the Bags Road condominium. There were several comments there against it. There was supposed to be a presentation on the a horse equestrian clinic going proposed across from the casino, and no one showed up for that. And there were some minor changes to our master plan wording on one or two issues, and I believe we had a minor wording changes to the recreational marijuana wording. And that was about it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. How about the Park and Recs Committee, Cheryl?
Not much of a report. Their February meeting was not rescheduled. They had lack of quorum in February. It was not rescheduled, and their next meeting is next Monday, the 14th.
Julie, are you ready to come provide us with your information? Dazzle us with your ingenious?
Right or not, here we are.
All right.
So, I wish someone would have told me that when the buses pulled out yesterday, we were gonna be in a snowstorm. So that sun could have happened better yesterday for us, but what a crazy day yesterday was, right?
Yes.
So I'm here, I'm making an effort to come to the township meetings. About 16 months ago, the townships of citizen community members approved about a $50 million bond for the schools. And one of the things that I don't want to happen is I don't want to get the money, do the work, and never come back to our townships to thank them, remind them that we know that they're critical to our success, and also to make sure that they know what's going on and how the money is being spent and that we're spending it in accordance with the bond. I also want to remind you, I'm a graduate of Elk Rapids High School, so I feel pretty humbled and passionate about doing things the right way and making sure that this bond money is spent in the best interest of our kids and our communities and doing what we said we were going to do. So where we are right now with the bond project is we've had design meetings and we are talking about breaking ground, starting some lay down and marking off of areas it's actually going to start March 28th. And our groundbreaking ceremony, we hope, is going to be April 11th or April 25th, I think it is. And it'll be a community groundbreaking. What we're starting with in the phase 1 of the bond is actually the high school. The high school had two major pieces with it. It was a performance gymnasium. And as I've been more acclimated back in Elk Rapids after being gone for a while, going to other gymnasiums and even traveling tomorrow to Glen Lake to watch our boys play in the district game tomorrow. I can't wait to have this gym and bring people over here to Elk Rapids so that we can host events. We can't host events in our gym right now because of the size and because of the seating capacity. If you ever watch a volleyball game, you can't get through a game without that ball hitting the ceiling. Our kids are stronger and better and more athletic. The other thing I'm really excited about with this is we have kids literally practicing until 9 o'clock, and we won't have to do that anymore with an auxiliary gym. And probably the thing I'm most passionate about is we won't have girls that are changing in a closet that is supposed to be a locker room for them, which is a Title IX violation. So we'll be able to correct that. So where we are right now is this is the floor plan for the auxiliary gym. It'll be on the, I think this is the west side of the high school. I'm really bad with going southeast west. And this is going to take over pretty much the gravel parking area. And over here is our soccer facilities. So we're also going to have to rework our entrance. But as you can see, we have the entrance here, and right off to the left there, we have our weight room. Right now, our weight room is divided into 3 classrooms, and we've put weights in different classrooms and done the best we can to give kids a weight program and strength training for our athletics. So this will be the facility out front. This is the entrance to the gym. Down here, we want to highlight our athletic successes. Right now, we're in a couple cabinets by the gym, but when you walk into this, the first thing you're going to see is the success we've had over the years. This will be the lobby area with the restrooms and of course the gymnasium. One of the things we're really proud of is being able to put a walking track above the gym. And the hope is, the expectation is, it's not hope, the expectation is that our community, especially during the winter months, will be able to come into the gym at designated times and use that walking track in the facilities, because we really don't have a place for our community. So that was really important to us. The other thing we have is our locker rooms over here, which again will be designated male and female, and our females will have a locker room to use that's fully equipped, which may sound silly this day and age, but we're excited about it. It's about time. So that's pretty much the layout. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull the office out front to be, where is it? To be right off the end here by Peterman Auditorium and the cafeteria. Right now, the entrance is off Magazine Point, and before the auditorium was put in, that made sense. Once the auditorium was put in, everyone thinks that's the front entrance. The other problem with our entrance currently is it is really not a secure entrance. We have a vestibule that people come in, then they buzz in to get in the building, which is a safety measure. But once they enter that door, they can go anywhere they want in the building. There's no one to stop them to make sure they're there for legitimate reasons. So we want to pull that office space out of here and put it out front here. That will get started a little bit later. Steel right now is, I don't want to overshoot this. I think it's 10 weeks out, if I'm right on that. It's crazy. Is it 10 weeks? I feel like it's not, it's more than that even. We can't get the steel to start building this until probably October. So we won't see that going up, but we'll be able to start this with the masonry. So that's going to go in. I'll have a secure entrance. Everyone will funnel into the main office. And the office part is really nice too, because we have an office, but we have a separate counseling area for our kids. And right now our counseling is divided into 2 spots. We've done the best we can. We have one by the restrooms and we have one in the back of the office, and kids are subject to everyone seeing them. And this is going to make it very private for them. Have access to the office, but it's a nice little space with a reception area. Most importantly, it's secure. I'm not gonna have to worry about when kids or people come in, where they're going. The one addition we have, and this was a brainstorm right here, the plans in the middle school were to have the central office wing demolished, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we would have to rebuild the central office, which would cost square footage. When we looked at the space in the high school and we thought about moving this office space up here, we realized we still have an entryway that's standing that we don't want to tear down. So looking at whether or not we could capture these classrooms, and if we had space to move these classrooms, we realized that we don't have to do new construction for central office, which will save us money. Anytime you can save money to put back into the kids, that's what you want to do. So we're actually going to move our central office to 2 classrooms here at the high school, and we're going to use this as our entryway, so we don't have to do a new construction. The thing that's a little bit frustrating is my office is going to be done before this one, but I don't need steel for this one. So you'll see construction on this starting before that, and I think it's important, especially for our office staff at the high school, to know logistically, we cannot do the space until we get the steel. And that's October of next year. So this is a change in the plans, I would say, but it's not a change in the intent. It's a cost saving measure that really makes more sense. So this is gonna start, like I said, March 8th, you're gonna start seeing stuff being done. We're gonna have our groundbreaking in April. And then this will start June when classes are done. And this will start October in the fall. It'll be about 1.5 years to get this done, they say. I keep saying 2 years. And they're saying about 1.5 years from that, I say 2 years. So I'm thinking about 3 years out, we'll have that completed. So that's the first phase of phase 1 bond. The second phase is really the part that probably needs to, this is the big need, the middle school. They've done a great job with that facility since I've been here and certainly before I was here. The plan is to demolish the building and rebuild, but you have to do that in phases because you still have kids that are working on, that are in the building. So what we're planning on doing, I don't have a good show. What we're going to do is right here is where the central office and classrooms are. We're going to tear that down in the fall. We're going out to bid this month. We're doing a pre-bid today. This will be torn down in the fall. Those classrooms will be moved to other parts of the building while that's being constructed. What you'll notice is we don't have the central office. We save the square footage. What we are putting on here is a really up-to-date media center that's really flexible seating. So it's going to be a library, but not traditional with books. It's going to have a lot of opportunity to do technology, have meetings, have kids working together in groups and pulling out of groups. It's going to really be multi-purposeful. The other spot we're really excited about here is a makerspace. Something that we're really good at is we have great academics and great success of our kids. The one thing that I would say that I would like to build in Elk Rapids is our computer science, our engineering, and our STEM classes, science, technology, engineering, and math. That space is going to be a perfect space for us to do a STEM lab. It's also been a great space for community use again. And one of the things we want to do with this bond is bring our community in. That would be a great place to have meetings. That would be a great place. I know where I came from, we had scrapbooking once a week, and we partnered with a local group that came in and just people gathered and did scrapbooking there. So it could be as high end as a meeting, or it could be as just friendly as we're doing scrapbooking there. It's all going to be movable and purposeful. So again, the goal at the high school is to get people in the building using the facilities, and at the middle school, what can we use as a community and bring people in and let them know it's not just Elk Rapids, it's Whitewater, it's Clearwater, it's Acme Township, it's everyone. When this is done, we'll have basically 2 academic wings on either side. These are your science labs, up-to-date science labs. I can't tell you how excited the science teachers are, again, to have updated equipment to meet the 21st century learning of the students. And then this will be, I think this is English, and over here is your art and music area. Again, right now we have Mr. Stowe who walks his middle school kids to the high school because there's really not a performance room at the middle school for them. So he has been above excited to get a space for the kids to work. And also our band room is over there too. I forgot about that. So that's where your fine arts will be. We have some spaces in here for our special needs students, whether it's learning disabled, our autistic students, cognitively impaired, and also our mental health people that come in and work with our kids. So we have some additional space to meet the needs of our kids that is appropriate for them. What's not being done, as you can see this area right here, the cafeteria and the gymnasium was not part of the bond. We're not touching that with this first phase construction bond. That's not what we said we were going to do. We're putting it all in new classroom spaces and facilities. These are just renderings of the proposed look of the building. This is the media center here. This is the top view. And we were very cautious to make it look modern, but we also didn't want the bling of the city because we're not city people. We're hardworking and work with our hands kind of people, and we want it beautiful, but not gaudy and spend a lot of money on looks, right? So that's phase one. Again, that groundbreaking will probably happen in August or September. We're going up to bid this month. We have pre-bid today. That's a major task. I didn't realize like I know about commissioning, test and balance and mechanical that I never thought I'd have to know. So phase two bond, that's the littler stuff that we've promised the community. So would be stuff like refreshing the gym. Do we need to repaint? Do we need to get new equipment we didn't have bleachers, but if we could do bleachers, we would do that. We also have classrooms in the high school that need carpeting paint. A lot of that money in phase two is going to Mill Creek and Lakeland. They need playground facilities, they need parking lots addressed. They need classroom updates and upgrades also. Phase two bonds are going to be sold, I think we're going to do it 2023. I think that's still the plan, early 2023. Once phase two is sold, we should have a plan and designs for our phase two bonds. And then I hope that the township will let me come back and let me show you what we've decided to do with the money that has been approved by the board or by the voters. And again, the purpose is just to let you know, we appreciate the support. You are part of Elk Rapids. This doesn't happen without you. Your kids come from this township to Elk Rapids, and it is a community place. It's not just about us getting a bond and saying, yeah, thanks, we're done. You know, let's continue to partnership and continue to grow and make sure we're doing great things for kids everywhere. So questions, thoughts, concerns, maybe things you've heard that you'd like to clear up. I'm here for whatever you need.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My kids went through Elk Rapids schools, of course, but whatever happened to the girls' locker room? Because in that hallway behind the gym, there was girls and boys locker rooms.
Yeah. When your kids went through school, did girls basketball, was it done in the fall or was it done in the winter? That changed.
I think it was in the winter. It was after the MH
Made that change.
SAA thing.
So
Yeah.
that's what caused the issue. When you have basketball games and you have boys teams and girls teams, instead of having two girls teams and one uses a boy locker room, now you have two girls teams and two boys teams, and you have to find facilities for both.
Yeah.
So that caused the biggest issue with the
Mhm.
locker rooms, and
Yeah.
that's the best explanation I have.
So
This
they're
year-
still there
They're there.
right now. Yeah. Okay. And they're still being
Yeah.
utilized as locker
Oh,
rooms,
yes.
but they're just not enough of them.
Because it changes.
Yeah.
You just have to get with the changes.
Yeah.
This year they did change in the Lake Michigan Conference where the girls and boys didn't play on the same night, and that helped us. Our girls didn't have
Oh,
to
that's
use that
good.
facility,
Yeah.
but they still keep their shoes and their stuff in that area because they need a space that's just theirs for
Mhm.
varsity. So
Yeah.
they've made it work, and I commend them, but we have to change with the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what happened. They weren't
Yeah.
pushed out or
Right.
anything like that.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, that's what I came here and I went, what? They're using the closet? We gotta talk about that.
Yeah.
What else can I answer? Or not answer, get an answer for you when I find it.
Do you have a link like on the homepage that would lead people to this information?
So yes, that's coming. I just shared with our board a draft of what they're putting up, and there'll be a construction link to look at everything that we're doing, or we've approved, everything that's being done and where we're at in the process. And as soon as that's live, I will get it out to you guys for sure. I'll
Thank
share it with
you.
the townships. Yeah, there was that, and then there was the groundbreaking I was supposed to bring up, so I forgot the link.
So we have a newsletter coming up, but that'll be after the groundbreaking ceremony, right?
Mhm.
But, you know, maybe
Well,
we,
well, yeah, I was gonna
Well-
give Julie a call and see if
Great.
maybe we could get together on putting an article in our newsletter. And that's why I was asking about the link, so that we could direct people to these drawings and more
I'd
information on
love
it.
to work with you on that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anything that we can do to help you guys get information out is perfect.
Well, people want to know,
Yeah.
what am I paying for?
Exactly.
You know, they see it show up on their taxes, and we've gotten a lot of calls. What is this?
So sorry.
they're asking us now.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm here. I don't want the townships to not have answers or not feel like they're part of this process now.
Right.
You know, you supported us. Let's all make sure we know what we're doing. And I will give the groundbreaking invitation directly to the boards, so the township board and the link, so the boards will have it. You guys are the stewards for your community, so I want you to make sure that you're invited to groundbreakings, and you're certainly, any information you get out to them, we'd appreciate.
Thank you for making time to come out to see us. You're welcome anytime, and let us know how we can help in inviting the community in.
Yeah, well.
You did a
let me know, I
great
can
job
help in the
here.
newsletter.
You did a great job here this morning. So if this is your first one, good for you.
Good job.
My first shot, so.
All right.
So I had people that haven't responded. I just don't think they want me, but they're not gonna get away that easy. Thanks so much for your time,
Yeah,
you guys, and
thank
thanks
you.
for your support.
Thank you.
You could invite me to the,
Absolutely, I got your card. Yeah, I want everyone to be there for that. It's-
So I believe that brings us to consent calendar. Motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Roll call when ready.
Bowman,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Gracias.
Bringing us to unfinished business number 1, ARPA reporting. I expected this to be a verbal update from both Heidi and Ardella to see if anything has been gleaned, but Clerk Goss, you have something as well?
No, I don't have anything. There just wasn't anything in the packet, and I'm just curious where we're at with the process because time is getting away from us.
It is.
The only thing I've seen is the same information out of the MTA magazine.
Did you have any luck with finding?
In the MTA, there's like 7 CPAs, but I was gonna try to go local. And so far I have only found one person that's thinking about it.
Who's that?
So,
Who's
her
that?
last name's Witten, WH, it's a local attorney, or I'm sorry, CPA. But I'm still working on it. It looks like you're just gonna have to call one of the MTA reps. Unless you have somebody you're thinking about. You just want to use one of their
That's
recommendations.
not what I was working.
Well, no, I'm just saying, are you comfortable just going with one the MTA recommends, or you want me to keep looking?
At
local?
this particular point, we need to do something. I am comfortable with that.
We
You're
need to make a
comfortable with that?
decision really
Because-
today.
I don't know if you know this, but this is the book
Yeah, those are the 400 pages.
For ARPA. That's not just the one report. I mean, you see the tabs. A lot of this has to do with when we initially set, not a lot.
Is that the
This much
rule?
has to do with it. No, it's not. The rule is not even in there. It's too much.
Okay.
Fit in this book. This, I mean, all the stuff that we've done before has been rewritten, so I updated those. I was able to use some of these links to be able to get our login, because it's different than the login we had before. That's why it wasn't working for me. You can either do it through id.gov or login.gov. The id.gov wants you to download a picture of your driver's license. They have multiple verifications, and every time I try to do it, it rejects it, so I have an email into them. But through the login.gov, I was able to get in. I've updated our account administrator, the point of contact for reporting, and the authorized representative for reporting. You and I are listed, and according to everything I read and according to what it allowed me to do, we can be listed for all 3 of those things, both of us.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to just be one person, which I find that very freeing, because if I can't do it, you can, kind of thing. So that information's done. The hub is updated. I can get in they also wanted us to attach everything we did
the 3 reports we had to do. So that's done. Now it's getting to the point where, okay, how do I do these compliance reporting? I can't seem to get past a certain point. What they tell me in these books to follow with all their little pictures, that's not there. The 3-line thing, when you go in there, it doesn't show me the same thing that this shows me. It brings me right back to the stuff I've already done. So I'm a little frustrated with it. I mean, if you want to take a shot at it, but I think we're getting to the point where we just need to hire this out. I have no idea. I mean, this is the latest email that came in. And where it's very informative, it's like a 3-page thing. I've done everything on here. And now I'm at a stopping point. If somebody else wants to give it a try, I'm more than happy to release it to them. So what you'd like to do? Would you like to try it?
So you haven't been able to successfully log in yet and even view
No,
the audit process?
I have logged in. I've got it so that we can log in. Because that's a whole nother new setup that had to be
Yep,
done.
yep.
And I have updated the things that they say you've got to do before you can get to the compliance reporting. But I can't get to the compliance reporting, how you actually do it. There's a couple YouTube videos out there, and I did not have an opportunity to look at that. Keep in mind that I have to close with the county this week. I don't have any more time this week to dedicate to this. I have to get my books closed with the county.
And I'm in the middle of board of review.
Yeah, I feel
I'll
you.
contact some CPAs on that list.
Okay.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
that's what Heidi was already doing.
I
was
haven't,
contacting
I've
the
been
CPAs.
trying to get local, Cheryl, because it's always nice to go local first. But I will
Do-
go through that list.
Yeah, just so you know, I feel like Cadillac is local. That-
Oh, you
my-
do
my
feel,
opinion.
okay.
I
okay.
wouldn't even bother with it anymore. Cheryl wants to make a decision today. I don't know what we'd make a decision on.
I don't either.
But if
okay.
I get pushed in a corner, or if you and I get pushed in a corner on this, I would just recommend to the board that we use Baird out of Cadillac. That's who Acme is already using. They use
I
them-
would feel a very big sigh of relief if I am not the one that is required to fill out these
I get it.
reports when
But we are going to have to get to the compliance reports.
no, we don't. We have to get to the hub, which we can now, to
Okay.
designate Baird as the reporting compliance people. That's all we gotta do.
Maybe Heidi can bring that back. Maybe she can
Once
make
we
a
have
phone
it.
call and bring that back to tomorrow's meeting, whether Baird is able to help us out or not.
Like join it, let us even
I would-
become a
So we can make a
customer.
decision tomorrow, because, I mean, we've got 7 weeks
And
to get
let's
this
face
done.
it.
We're getting down there, and I'm sure they're doing it for a lot of other people.
And
So
what
the
point
other
are we
entities,
in
and
line?
they're gonna need to know, I mean, are they even taking on any more entities at this point with 7 weeks to go? That's something we need to know right away, so we can go to somewhere else
Quite
if they're not
honestly,
able to do it.
quite honestly, we don't have any projects out there. We haven't started really anything. We haven't paid anything out. So our reporting, from what I've read, is supposed to be easy. But if you can't get to the point, and I'm sorry, I've spent enough hours on this. If somebody else wants to look at it, absolutely no problem. I'll hand the book right over. I don't have time anymore. Not this week.
I'm on like page 210. Out of
So
400.
after the meeting, we can share login information and I can give it a go.
Yep.
And see if we can get there. I like you believe, because we don't really have anything to report. Our compliancy report is going to be very small. Because we haven't held any public meetings. We've done really nothing except what we did with Cherry Capital Connection, which was assigned some money, but we haven't paid on that
We
yet.
planned.
So We plan, that's right. And so, we still need to take in public input. I assume the report will ask us what
Well,
endeavors we've,
You know, Ron, they've done a very good job in these books of showing you how to get into the area that I'm already done with. But they don't show you anything else after that. Weird. Seems like there should be step by step, and there's not.
I thought on the we get in the Township Insights, one of the last couple, three of those says that MTA, there's a step-by-step procedure. Is that,
Sure.
have you exhausted that? Or?
I did, and
It's
it
kinda
basically takes you
simple.
through this, and it shows you where the user guide is, where the compliance reporting guide is, and it's all help.
Yeah.
It's not actual. And you can read that 300-page help thing if you want. I don't have time for that. But I would absolutely be more than willing to give you the book, give you the passwords, show you what I know, and then
so
run away fast as I
just,
can.
just to clarify things. Maybe it isn't worth the 300,000 we're getting.
No, I think I don't know how to get to it, and I haven't found the
Okay.
magic link.
All right. So
So what they tell me is supposed to be underneath that 3 dash doesn't look like the same thing. It's
Okay.
not there for me. So I don't know, what am I doing wrong? I mean, they give you pictures, says, oh, click up here. And I clicked up there, and what they show is supposed to be there isn't what's coming up. So. Somebody
And
smarter
you
than me.
basically.
I mean,
just
why
wanna-
is it that I have to, after we've attached the 3 main reports? Why is it we gotta do that again?
I believe that was covered in one of the webinars.
Yeah, but why? This
Um,
is
sure.
a redundancy that the federal government
It-
does to you, and it's gotta be the same thing with this other stuff. And, like I said, somebody smarter than me can take over. I'm not, my feelings won't be hurt on this at all.
And the reason you have to re-upload is because it's a different software program.
Okay.
Different application, it's a different process. So before we applied and we had to prove that we had a budget and so on and so forth and all of that. Now this is actually the audit process. So it is a check and balance system. And just like the Social Security system, they don't use the same computer program. If you're alive, it's one. If you're dead, it's another.
Now, you will see your name in there twice
Oh, good.
because you have 2 different email addresses. So they list you twice.
I should only have one email address.
Well, you have the township email address, and then you have the one that you're using. So that's what's in there.
Okay.
What's
Nobody-
the action item for today on this? What's the, what
There
is
is no
going to
action item.
happen
It's just a verbal
going
report.
forward?
I'm gonna bring you
But
some
I'm
information tomorrow.
trying to understand, are we going to hire someone to do this ARPA reporting? Is that where we're headed? If so, who is making the contact? Who is getting the contract? Who is finding out how much it's gonna cost us?
Well, I'll ask all that information when I call this gentleman tomorrow and see if we can even get fitted in. So.
Okay,
What
so
would you
you're
like me to,
going
tell me
to-
what you'd like me to bring you, Cheryl, and I'll bring it all to you tomorrow if possible. I'm not gonna get a contract, but I might.
Who
be
is
able
it
to
you're
get
calling?
I'm gonna call
Baird?
Baird, Cotter, and Bishop PC and Cadillac. Is that correct, Ron?
Yes.
Okay, so I think the first question is whether they can do it for us.
I got that.
And then for how much?
I have the cost here to handle.
And do they require a contract? And we need to have the contract sent to us so we can vote on it.
Well, first you'd want to review it. Okay. I'll see what I can do for you.
Anything else? Let's see, that will bring us to unfinished business number 2. Resolution 2203, intent to impose incorporation as charter township. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2203, intent to impose incorporation as charter township as written.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Roll call when ready.
Goss, Jostonia,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Penick,
Yes.
We will consider that motion is passed. Unfinished business number 3, review, approve additional activity compensation program. Last month, we reviewed this proposed policy in depth. I believe the proposed changes are reflected here in this new document.
we don't have a motion yet.
I'll make a motion to amend section 3.4 of the Whitewater Township Policy and Procedure Manual, adding the following words. Any non-salary board, commission, committee, or society member who adopts additional occasional duties assigned by the body is eligible to request compensation through the Additional Activities Compensation Program. The request must be prepared by the body's chairperson and submitted to the supervisor or clerk for approval. The request shall be submitted in accordance with Whitewater Township Policy and Procedure Manual, Section 4.2, on an approved timesheet. Rate of compensation shall be set annually in the wage salary schedule. It is strictly understood the Additional Activities Compensation Program does not create an ongoing employment agreement of any type or establish eligibility, thank you, to any benefit program offered by the township.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion?
I had a question about why the word society was added. That was not discussed at our last meeting. We did at our last meeting to add the word committee, but not society.
Actually, it was discussed in depth by trustee Volmuth. And it was unclear to me as rewriting this, but Heidi was concerned that we were leaving society, the historical society specifically, out of this conversation because we didn't mention them. For the same reasons you wanted committee, the word committee added, because you felt we were leaving the committees out.
Well, my response to that would be that I propose that we add committee because they don't get any type of hourly wage, whereas the Historical Society, at least the director does get an hourly wage. So I guess if we're ever going to have Historical Society members, it could apply to Historical Society members.
And Della, I did put in a different color, the sections that we're adding to the 3.4 section.
Also, you didn't read it in your verbal motion, but on 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th line down, you have the Latin phrase et al. You didn't read that in your motion, but that applies, that's a Latin phrase that applies to people. If you're talking about policies that follow, it would be the Latin phrase et sec, SEQ.
So shall we change that?
I would suggest it. You didn't read it in your motion, so if I was going technically by what you read for the motion, it's not in there at all. But if you want to add it,
Would you prefer to add it?
I don't think it really matters.
Okay. Any additional comments? Discussion? Roll call when ready.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bosch, yes, Valmuth,
Yes,
Pop,
Yes. So Cheryl, what's the best way for me to get this updated to you? I can,
I'll be inserting the language in the Word copy of the admin policy.
and will you send a new section of that out to all board members, please?
I will, but don't look for it real soon. I have a lot of things going on right now.
Board, would you just like to have an electronic copy of that policy update rather than a printed version?
that's fine.
Whatever's easiest. I'm not particular.
I would opt for an electronic copy, save a tree and keep organization. Okay. ARPA Township Hall Planning Session. This too is a holdover from last month. This may seem bad, and so I apologize, but I'm going to float the idea. I'd much rather get our meeting scheduled with the road commission sooner than later. And I am proposing we actually bring this business topic back next month.
I like the idea of having the town hall meeting.
Mhm.
I do not like the idea of bunching a bunch of things in. I want it to be a single focused town hall meeting about the ARPA funds. If you want to have more, we have another one. I would also like to have it so that we could get it in our newsletter so more people know about it. I think mailing individually to the homes is a great idea, but also being able to hit them with in the newsletter would be a great idea. So whatever we do for scheduling, I'd like to keep that in mind.
Okay. And then Elk Rapids Schools obviously plays a big part in this, as we've reached out to use potentially the multipurpose room there.
Yeah.
And then I'm also looking into how we can continue our Zoom items over there, which I think is a possibility. So there's lots of planning to do before we even set a venue. And I think you were against the school. You kind of wanted to keep it smaller.
Well, I just don't think we're going to have as big as outreach as you think we will,
And you might be right.
you know. I could be wrong. Maybe we'd fill that gymnasium. I don't know. Err on side of caution, I suppose.
if we narrow the topics down and exclude the planning commission stuff, although, you know,
I don't
my,
wanna
my
get-
phone's been ringing off the hook.
Then that's a separate thing.
Yep.
If you want to talk about the master plan and the
No.
planning commission stuff, don't
Separate.
group it into the ARPA stuff.
No.
I want to,
Okay.
I like the idea of keeping that just focused.
And with the activity that I have heard, I would agree with that. There's a lot more passion about how things are currently developable in the township. And
Do you want to implement some kind of master plan / ARPA funds so that they can come in and say, well, our master plan says this, so let's group it towards that, or you just want to leave a master plan out of it?
I'm in total disagreement with that. The master plan is at the planning commission.
I don't want to enter. I
They
don't
are
wanna-
going, they need to handle that. It hasn't even been rewritten yet. They're going to have all the public input sessions on that. This town hall meeting needs to be strictly focused on the ARPA funds. All these other boards, commissions, committees can have their own town hall meetings and have had them in the past. Also, I am definitely not available to attend any, you can have one without me, but I'm not available to attend any town hall event until after, probably a couple weeks after the May 3rd election. Just no time for that at all. And I do agree with Ron that there is a lot of planning that needs to go into this.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if Ron and Heidi want to get together and get this planning going. For instance, it's March 8th today. Now, the newsletter, you're probably going to give us the newsletter deadlines today. The newsletter is going to be well underway by our next meeting on April 12th. So I don't know, maybe we're looking at a date in June or something like that. Certainly, I don't think we can do much of anything in the way of planning until a date gets chosen. So,
Okay, maybe you misunderstood what I meant. If we're bringing all the community together and we're talking about this extra money we have to spend, why not implement a little and make sure that we're writing our master plan of what the people really want? So why not use it to our advantage and maybe give them 5 or 6 note cards before we talk about the ARPA funds? And here's a pen and note card. So while we're talking about all this money and figuring out how we're going to spend it, if you have some ideas for the master plan or what direction you want to go, write them down on these cards and leave them on the table or a box when you leave. Because at least that would give us some kind of focus to know maybe there's something that we're not putting in our master plan that they want to spend some of the ARPA money on.
Now, couldn't we pass that information on to the planning?
We could do
commission?
that too, but I'm just saying, you got them all in one room. Why not take advantage of at least them writing down some thoughts and concerns?
I absolutely agree with you on the writing down what they think we should do with the ARPA money. Their
With the
ideas, the
ARPA
whole
money.
point of the town hall meeting would be to get public input on what they think we should be spending the money on.
but
Exactly. Some-
not the master plan. That's in front of the planning
I'm
commission.
not
Well,
saying
but-
that.
Well, that's what
but-
she's saying though.
No,
Let's do both of them.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have a bunch of people in a room. You have to look at how the ARPA funds are gonna affect our community. So some people won't get up there and tell you what they want. So if you give them a piece of paper and a pencil or a card and a pencil, they'll go to town on a piece of paper. At least you'd have some more information. Why not use it to your advantage and network a
I
little?
think that's part of the planning.
And
for
I
me.
think-
You got it,
Okay,
Yeah.
You know,
that's fine. Ron,
And
if you
I
want to do
also
this,
think
I'll
that
do
the
it with
planning
you.
commission is in charge of gathering public input on, and they, I believe, have already formulated a process or have a sketchy idea of a process of how they're going to do that. And I really don't think the board should go outside of their process and try to, I really just think the meeting just needs to be about the ARPA funds.
I give up.
Here's a thought. Ardella, how many meetings have you attended this week?
Well, today's Tuesday, right? Cute.
Okay. And by today's
And I-
ending, I'll have 4 under my belt.
Yeah, well, I was here last night until almost 8 o'clock too,
Sure.
so.
So is there a concern of scheduling planning commission, public input sections and ARPA public input sections and giving the public meeting overload? Maybe we just put this off for another year because we really don't have a strict timeline on expending these funds. And as Daryl indicated, I think the 2024 deadline is going to be moved out. So I think not rushing this is probably a good idea.
Well, but I think it's not like we're going to take the results from this and immediately allocate the money. But the whole point of it was so that this board had a better idea what the public thought we should be doing with the money.
Mhm.
I think that's okay. Give them an idea, let the public know how much money we have coming to us, what our thoughts are. Now, what are your thoughts? This is fact gathering. This is opinion gathering. This is not decision making.
Is there value in doing that in writing like we have done recently with a park survey? And leaving the public meeting to the planning commission? I'm worried that
When is it? Well, I would say, Ron, that if we were doing back-to-back town hall meetings, you might have a point. But at this point, we have no idea what the planning commission is planning to do. We don't-
apparently Cheryl does.
Well, no, I just know from the global contract that they're going to get community input, right? And
I don't know,
on
you said
the-
the process was already underway, so
Well,
what is that
The master
process?
plan process is underway
Oh,
at the
not the
planning
community
commission.
meetings.
I didn't say the community meetings were underway. I said that planning commission has sent out their intent to plan, and they are in the process. They're having a special meeting on Friday all about master plan review. They're handling the master plan. That's my point. The planning commission is handling the master plan, and they need to determine when and how they want to get their public input, not this township board.
Yeah, I
We-
don't want to interfere with what. they're
No, I
doing.
don't want to interfere with what they're doing at all, or step on anybody's toes or get ahead of their process. This is a town hall meeting that's been proposed to find out what suggestions the public has about these ARPA funds. It needs to stay strictly on that topic and not wander all over the map on other things. It needs to stay strictly on that topic. And so we can schedule it whenever the board agrees to schedule it, and maybe that's several months down the road. But I want it to be strictly on the ARPA funds. Because
Ryan, I think a survey is the best way to go.
and you could do a survey, you could send out a postcard, you
Mhm.
know.
Or you could save funds and just have everybody come to a town hall meeting and fill out the survey and some advice and out they go. That way there's no
They
confrontation
locked up
bringing
on
any,
me.
there's no confrontation bringing any other thing to the table.
You see, and that's the reason why I said I would just like to do a simple work session meeting here.
Okay, you're right.
saying, come bring your ideas, tell us what you think.
It's
Without a lot of
better.
hoopla.
Okay, but you're still having an open meeting, so you
Sure.
still have public comments, so you still can get off track in the meeting. So why not, we've developed this survey, come by, fill it out, write a few more ideas down and end it. If you don't want confrontation, you have to wheel it in a little.
I don't know why there would be confrontation.
You're not only gonna be able to hear about the ARPA funds. because you have too much of the public angry about other things.
Okay, but don't you think we could redirect it? We're not here to talk about this today. We're here to talk about this.
That's why you just have them come in and fill out a survey and go. Then there.
Well, I don't
you
want to
have-
make them come in to fill out a survey. Let's get the survey to them.
Ardella, your township hall meeting, your casual gathering. You've been to a board of review session.
It's
It-
been a very long time.
Yeah, but is that the kind of process you meant where people just come in between 3 and 6 and they, they
That's
stayed
very
there?
similar to what the planning commission has done in the past.
Is that kind of what you were
That-
thinking?
Yeah, I just want a general idea of what people are thinking, and then if we need, maybe we do more than one thing. We do this instead of going over the school, we just have it here. And then the next step is we send out a survey. These are some of the ideas that we've gotten. What more do you got? What do you like?
Narrow them down.
And narrow it down so that we know as a board how better to plan. I mean, the whole point is that it gives us more information for what our township residents are actually thinking that we should be spending this money on. I believe that, isn't that actually a step we're supposed to be doing?
Yep.
Well, it
So-
is, yeah. And so I wonder if we can use some information gleaned from like our recent recreation survey.
I think that we could use some of that too, but to actually ask the question,
Sure.
I think is necessary.
And I think we have to give them some information so they can make a knowledgeable response. We need to tell them, you know, some of the things that can be used for, or as wide of a, you know, or tell them it's wide open, or, you know, I think we need to give them some information about it ahead of time.
Let them know we already put some towards the internet.
Any information that would help them in their thought process.
So how about if we not set a date today, let me take these comments, kind of hone the idea down a little bit, focus it a little more, maybe come back with an idea or two on surveys. I know that surveys are not popular here.
They're not.
I get that. But some of these webinars I've been attending, they have you take a survey after you get the information, right? And so they're kind of trying to glean what people picked up from the information delivered.
Yeah.
So that kind of gauges our effectiveness in communicating our message out, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking if we could employ something like that in this process. The survey wouldn't be the first thing that goes out. The information we're talking about is, but then we do that follow up. And so people say, oh yeah, you know, I wrote you this message and so on and so forth. And so we get an idea of how effectively we're communicating with the public. Just a thought.
I hope you do that.
Okay, so we'll develop the idea over the month.
Sounds good.
Is that board consensus?
Sure.
Heidi?
I'm good.
And I think you already said sure, right, Ardella?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that brings us to new business, proposed policy, equal access.
Did you get anything new as far as an update on where they're going with this? I mean, I'm all for allowing board members to be able to access the meetings and be able to vote and participate by Zoom. I think that's a change in the Open Meetings Act that should have been handled a long time ago, but where are they in the process? Is it still just sitting in there to do?
My read only, and again, there's I think no motion at this time because this is a broad new, concept. I would love to get something in place. But if we don't, we don't. So to answer your question, Ardell, I believe that the legislatures are kind of in a hold mode with this Dana Nessel opinion. So precedence has been established. ADA has it over OMA. If someone claims ADA considerations, there's no need for new legislation.
But what hoops do the people have to go through to claim the ADA? And
That's a quagmire I'm not willing to get into.
I'm
That's
not
what I'm
opening
saying.
that
As a
box.
board, we'd have to
N-
know. Is it just we declare it
No,
that I have a
No.
ADA
No.
exemption? Or do I
No.
have to prove it?
you have to prove it.
No, you
You need to
don't.
be careful.
Yes, you
That's
do.
what, that's what I'm saying. We need clarification on
You do not
that.
have to prove, if somebody calls you and says they need accommodation, Cheryl, they don't have to prove
You have to ask,
anything.
what can we do for you? And how
Okay, I
can we
think
do
we're
it?
talking about two different things here. Della brought up general access to remote participation by the board, which we had for a while during the COVID thing.
Right.
What Ron has brought to us is the Attorney General's opinion that ADA trumps the Open Meetings Act, and people with a qualifying disability under the ADA have to be allowed to have remote participation. So it says that the burden is on the individual to show that they have a qualifying disability under the ADA. Okay, this doesn't apply to any of the public and their right to have reasonable aids and services. That's all on our every agenda and notice, and people know that. Okay, so the burden is on the individual to show that they have a quote qualifying disability. Now, we're gonna have to get some attorney input on this. We're gonna have to find out, what do people have to provide to show that they have a qualifying disability? Because it's not just for general board participation. This AG opinion is not about general board participation by Zoom. I'm not up to date on what the legislature is doing for general, just somebody saying, I'm gonna, attend the meetings from home and I get to vote and all that, because the legislature has given us the authority to do that. This is a different thing. It has to do with ADA. And so what it says is basically it advises, what I got out of it, the township should work with their attorneys to determine the best approach based on their individual circumstances. So that's why I said, if we want to pursue this, I think we need to get this over to the attorney's office and have this looked into a little bit more and find out what are qualifying disabilities.
Excuse me.
In other words, I don't think right now a qualifying disability under ADA is, I don't feel well this evening. So it has to be a qualifying disability under ADA. That is what the entire Attorney General's opinion was about.
Well, then let's move the idea to the attorney and see what their opinion is.
I think that's a great idea. Let's do that. At least then
Yeah.
we have an answer, right?
No, I don't think we'll get an answer. What has been revealed to me through trying to put this together is that alcoholism is covered under ADA. So mental fatigue is covered under ADA. The case, each qualification is handled on a case-by-case basis.
It is.
And that's why this proposal says, let's not get tied down into that.
We don't want to know why. We just want to ask, what can we do for you?
Well, I think that's a simple way of saying it, Heidi.
Well,
Um,
you can't, technically, because of the HIPAA law, you can't really ask people. So if they volunteer it, that's one thing. If they don't, and they just say, you know, it's just like if you're deaf or blind. Somebody has to make that phone call for you to the clerk, because you might not be able to use a phone.
Here again, we're not talking about the public. This is only about board members. And
Oh,
so we have to follow the law. And the law right now is that, it's the law that board members must be present in person
I
to
understand.
participate in a meeting unless they are a member of the military. Another, and Dana Nessel has opined in this recent opinion that people with qualifying disabilities under the ADA are also eligible to get. I'm not arguing that we'll accommodate people with qualifying disabilities, but what we have to get to is what are the qualifying disabilities? And I would bet that we refer this to the attorney, which I'm all for. We refer it to the attorney, but this Attorney General's opinion is very new. And so I think there's going to have to be some more development. Maybe the attorney's office is probably following up on this for other municipalities as well, to find out what are the qualifying disabilities under the ADA.
My hope is that the legislature will look at this and say, we've been operating for a while now because of the pandemic, allowing people to participate via Zoom, board members, voting members. And maybe it's time to change the Open Meetings Act to include those, rather than making people go through the ADA process.
And they might do that, but right now that's not what's in
I know,
place.
but that's what I'm hoping. But I
Right.
think we should send this on to the attorney and see if there's a way, if there's a procedure that we have to do to be able to follow this, tell us what that is. And we just follow those procedures if we want to go forward as a board to do this, which I don't have a problem with. Not at all.
I don't have a problem with it either, but we have to do it according to what the
Right.
AG's opinion and the law is.
So thinking about what you just said, maybe we delay this a couple of months and see if the legislators do something.
And we
That-
should also write them a letter. Tell
Well,
them
there
we
you
would
go.
We would like them to make these changes. I think the more they hear from township boards about how this would affect us in a positive way, maybe it gets put on somebody's docket and they get moving on it.
Well, you know, in my own personal life, I've missed 2 board meetings so far this year. I don't think I've missed 2 board meetings except for when I was ill for a very long time. And I will likely miss a couple more coming up. The daytime meetings just are not working for me, which I knew they wouldn't. And I cannot put health concerns above, business here. I won't do that.
So to me, if we decide to send this to the attorneys, which I think is a good idea.
Okay.
I don't see a point of waiting. If there's a workaround and ADA provides you the ability to be able to attend those meetings that maybe you couldn't otherwise, I would like to be able to make sure you have that opportunity to attend the meetings. Anybody on this board that has
Right.
anything that would
would keep them because of medical or whatever it happens to be, ADA wise. I don't want to see them excluded from the meetings. I mean, we've seen that these Zoom meetings, they work just fine.
Probably not to the level for a lot of people as a face-to-face, but I think it's a very viable substitution.
Well, face to face, we do see face to face. So,
Yeah, but you don't log on.
I don't anymore. I did, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
So.
But we're all on Zoom.
Now
They can
people
still
see
see
us from
us.
there. I know it's a long ways away.
And
could
really,
do
we
something
should be,
different with the camera.
we should be projecting the Zoom screen onto our projector screen up there.
We really should, because we don't know who's on there.
Yeah. And then we would see
know
them
Ron
as
does
well.
because he logs in. See,
Yeah,
none of
if
us
you'd all log
in.
in,
Oh,
problem
well,
solved.
Okay.
Well,
but
right now I
I-
have I don't want to be logged in. I have too much else going on my screen. So
But
I'm
sometimes
not going to be
when I
logged in.
log in, I get a lot of feedback.
Then get another computer and have a screen sitting right next to you. A lot of people have dual
Alright.
screens.
I don't want to
I
have
could
two
do that
screens. We
too,
can
but
project it
there's
right
a
up
lot
there.
of
And for
interferences
instance,
there.
during Patrick Ertel's, if we projected it on that screen up there, Patrick Ertel's nice presentation about the Boardman River would have been seen by everybody out in the audience. It's not just us that needs to see, it's the people
Exactly,
out
they need
there
to see
too.
it too.
Right.
So,
Well, we'll have to look into that. But I think we should send this, do we need a motion for it or is it just a
I think just board
consensus?
consensus.
I think just consensus is fine. So you don't want to wait. We want to do this now.
Mhm.
Send it off to the attorney now to
Yes.
your term, find a workaround.
Because Cheryl, this would.
Well,
include
how to
commission
comply
members,
with
too.
If they're.
How
if
to,
we're able to
of
comply
course,
with-
it's gonna have to be how we're gonna comply, how we would allow it in and comply with the law,
What law?
Well,
the AG opinion and the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
So I have it that there was board consensus that this issue will be referred to the township attorney.
Yep.
maybe MTA will take it up.
They've been pretty silent last month and a half on it.
Yes, they have.
Well,
Okay.
they're probably studying it too before they hand out any advice.
New business number 2, relocate battery recycling.
I'm all for that. Because I know how easy that is to catch fire. I like your idea of putting it out by itself.
The petroleum industry has products that I think would benefit us here. I should say the retail petroleum industry. Around diesel pumps and things like that, you'll see these yellow containers. They probably hold about a 5-gallon bucket, maybe a little more. They got a nice over doming lid so you can't get water in it. It's meant for spill control products.
Got snakes in it.
I don't know if it has
No,
snakes
it's
in it or
got
not.
snakes. You
Oh,
put it
booms?
around the pump. Yeah, booms, snakes, whatever you want.
So there's a lot of these products that can be used to keep the batteries dry if they're outside. They don't need to be under a roof where clearly the fire concern of these lithium batteries are becoming more and more as you read in the Marquette, I guess, newspaper article.
Well, I don't want to relocate them until we have a different method of keeping them dry.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'd be, if the board is in tune to it, I can research those products, bring you back a couple of things. Worst case scenario, I say that we just use a patio box. Rubbermaid makes several of them. And those are the ones that I would probably go with right out the gate.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please do.
You know how I wouldn't do a Tupperware because nobody will get the lid on. You know how a garbage can goes up and down like this? Why don't you just get like a garbage can and then make sure it's got a snap lid, not where the wind could just blow it open. think
Well, I
it-
think what we have to recall, or I think we need multiple inputs on this. I wanted to ask Chief Flynn what he thought would be a good option. I'd also think we would need to find out what other townships are doing. And also we need to consider the county because they're the ones that have to pick this stuff up.
Yeah. you
And
gotta think
so
about
right
the-
now, it's quite convenient for them to just, they park right at the end of our ramp. And they come up here and they take our buckets and they put us, they give us some new buckets. And
The problem with your idea is it would be so heavy.
yeah,
Well,
I
that
want to
I
make
get,
sure
but-
that the county is not going, the people, these volunteers, basically, I think they are, that come here. I've seen lots of different people. It's not all of the same person. I want to make sure that whatever we come up with is convenient for them and that they're okay with whatever we come up with.
Maybe we should
Because
ask
they
them
are,
what
they
want.
are the ones who are doing it. We are just a drop-off location, but we don't have to do anything but let these buckets sit out there. They're the ones that are handling the service. I think we need to get a lot more input. Like I say, from the chief, from other counties, other townships, how are they doing it? And also we need to bring the county recycling office into it.
So as this recommendation or proposal indicates, a patio storage box capable of holding 3 5-gallon buckets.
You also.
So
could-
we're
Go ahead.
not changing the method in which the collection people use. So the county has nothing to say about it.
We're just
I
moving
tell
it
you,
away
if
from the
I
building.
bring this to you as a potential hazard and we fail to do it and we have a loss, that's going to be an issue that we can't recover from at this point.
Sure. Well, they sat in the building for how many years? They were in the building here.
And
And we
lithium
only
batteries are
put.
just now coming to play. That's
Sure, I
what's
know.
causing the trouble.
Right,
It's
exactly. I
not
think
your-
everybody's using lithium batteries now in a lot of things, but
Right.
so we put them outside so that during COVID, people didn't have to come into the building. So I totally agree with them being outside and all that, but I just think we need to be
Can I ask you one
mindful of,
question?
and maybe some other townships have some good ideas. I think we should just investigate that.
Okay, can I just ask you one question? Cheryl, what's the difference if it's sitting underneath your tax money? Or down at the end of the ramp, 300 feet off to the side away from the building? Is that a problem?
No,
Thank you.
here's the thing. I think a lot of people didn't know that we were providing that service
No,
We're
they
not-
didn't.
We have to.
I
put that
still
in the
have people who
newsletter.
don't
until
know.
they walked up to pay their tax bill
Correct.
or,
That's right.
something for zoning or something for elections. Then they saw
But
that and it was like, oh, we can
Right.
also drop that off.
Maybe we need to put something like that in the newsletter. Hey, did you know you can recycle your batteries, your printer cartridges?
I
and all
have.
that?
But
maybe
it's always a
bigger.
great reminder.
But I'm just saying, so all we want to do is get the hazard away from the building. So if something happens,
I
the
understand
building
the
don't burn
topic.
down.
I understand the topic.
So Ronnie, you're just gonna bring us back some containers?
No,
Since we're all in agreement that,
nope,
no, you don't want to do that?
nope, I'm done. I made my proposal. If y'all want information from different sources,
Well, that's
Then
why
y'all go
you
get it.
you did a very good job. You did this is like a
I've
regular.
told you
proposal.
there's a fire hazard. If you
Not
don't
only that,
wanna-
but you
if don't
said
wanna
what
do it,
townships are
I
recycling.
Really don't care.
Okay. Something like this shouldn't be a,
You're absolutely right. It's a $300 item that can save the loss of a building. And we want more information on it. Go out and get it.
Who's going to, well, how are you going to label it? How are you going to keep, who's going to clean the snow off it? So the residents can get to it?
Who cleans the snow off of the current recycling bins? So the township people can get to it. Do you go out there and shovel a pathway for them?
No, I'm talking about, Heidi's talking about something that has to have a lid lifted.
Do you know
Okay,
what a
well, that's
patio
gonna get
box
heavy
looks
with
like?
snow.
You don't know what a
You know what a
patio box looks like?
looks
I
like?
have one.
Do you?
Yep.
So how do you keep the snow off of it?
I don't get in it in the winter.
I have a better
Don't need to
question for you.
get it
How
in
do
the
you
winter.
keep yours from falling apart? The Rubbermaid ones, together, mine's always falling apart.
Yeah.
I gotta put it back together.
Because
all
he's
the time.
talking about using a hazardous material box. They don't fall apart.
I don't think that's what he said, but I don't care
Excuse
one way
me,
or
isn't that
another.
what you were referring to? He's saying a patio box, but then he referenced, like, okay, you know, when you go to some gas stations, well, at least the diesel ones, and there's that big yellow thing sitting next to it, kind
That's-
of,
Yes, I understood he said that, but he also said regular patio box that you lift the lid and the 3 buckets would be inside. And I guess I'm lightening the mood by saying, how do you keep that thing together? Because mine keeps coming
Yeah.
apart.
well,
I
you're
have
putting
2 of them.
batteries inside it, so you kind of have to make
have one
sure
12
that if
years
a
old,
fire starts, it's
problem.
not gonna melt the
Maybe I
box.
just
Keeps the
don't
hot
know.
tub stuff in it, and
That's what I used it for too, but.
there's no problem with the snow.
So
Just man-made issues
I
to
don't think this needs
delay
to be
a
all blown
good
out of
idea.
proportion here. I think
agree.
maybe just a couple simple solutions brought back and we just do it. Why does this gotta be such a big deal?
I don't think
Well,
it does.
I mean, you can get a purchase order for a patio box and install it out there if that's what you want to do.
I say we just, you think it's gonna cost $300, just let's get a PO and do it.
Sure.
Is 300 gonna cover the has part of the box? In other words,
I don't think
it's-
that's
it-
what you're going for, is it? It's just relocation away from the building for risk management.
Correct. Yep. So board consensus is we get a purchase order and make the move. We don't have to call county recycling. We don't have to have a snow removal or snow mitigation
As long as
policy.
you're gonna take care of it.
No, I don't take care of it now.
We're gonna have to let them know where we've relocated it to.
Yes, definitely.
For sure. For sure.
No, I meant who's gonna get the patio box, who's gonna install it, who's gonna put the signage up that's been moved. Those are things that the public is
I
going
can
to
put it in
want
the
to know.
newsletter that we've moved it from underneath.
Sure.
To out by the recycle bins. It'll be done by then, right? Don't you think? I think we have a plan.
What is the board consensus then? So I can get it in the minutes?
Supervisor Pop is going to get a purchase order for 300. Up to 300, you think? What do you think?
For the
That-
cost
That
of
was an
a,
estimation
Yeah.
of one device at Ace Hardware. I'm certain if we went to Home Depot or a different outlet, there's probably some cheaper ones.
and I think we just say for the cost of a patio box
There you go.
and install it near the recycle bins.
Hmm. Do you want to put it next to the recycle bins, or did you want to just put it so many feet from your back door, Ron?
No, I believe that it gets bolted to the signposts that are out there under recycling that have the instructions that nobody reads.
Right, okay, we're good.
But they don't have to walk through a bunch of snow to get to it.
No, it's right there, just
Okay.
off to the north of where the
Oh,
recycling
maybe the
closure is.
people will like that better. They can do all the recycling in one spot.
One
Maybe.
spot.
And you're gonna put it in the newsletter, Della?
I can put it in the newsletter.
I don't even know if patio boxes are on display yet, so bear in
Just
mind, we might
order
be
it
a
through
little,
Amazon. Amazon has everything. It's free delivery.
I would.
You want to buy a house, you can buy one through Amazon.
I would need just so many approvals to use the credit card and that it would not be worth my time.
I was just thinking.
You can use a credit card. Other people use the credit card.
Okay, so I've got a little bit of work to do there.
I'll help you. Just don't ask me to use a hammer. And
So
dig a
that
with
brings
a
us
shovel
to-
with no hammer.
To new business number 3, review and set ambulance value.
I'll make a motion to accept Fire Chief Lynn's ambulance inventory list and vehicle value assessment as presented and to forward the same to MMR for approval.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Roll call when ready.
Hop,
Yes.
Goss, yes, Falmouth,
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
For discussion purposes, I'll make the motion to authorize the supervisor and clerk to sign an amended motor vehicle lease containing an updated exhibit MV-1 description to include inventory list and statement of agreed value of ambulance.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? The only thing I would maybe ask, if the board is concerned, what happens if MMR doesn't like the document we're going to send them? Let's say they come back and say, no, it's only worth $1. Does the board still want to sign that agreement? And so,
Well, I won't sign it unless it's agreed upon. I'm not going to sign it unless it's agreed upon with MMR.
okay, and so we're going to forward the list. And
Yeah.
then who agrees on it, Cheryl? In this case, it'd be you and I, right?
But you said, but we've already agreed to it.
Yep.
The board has. And now the motion was to forward it to MMR for approval. So we need something in writing from MMR that they agree, or maybe they don't, and maybe a different value is going to be set. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I wonder if the second motion isn't a little premature.
And that brings me to my point.
You think they'll come back and say $1? No. I didn't either.
Yeah, I don't either, but that was
You
to
have to go with that
illustrate,
though, exactly.
that
'cause
was
they-
to
right.
illustrate my point.
They could
You know,
go back
at
and
what
say-
point would you remove the authority of the supervisor and clerk to sign this agreed value thing, right? So I see this second motion as potentially being too early.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's why I did it for discussion.
Correct. Yeah. And so I think once we
narrow it down.
finalize the negotiation, if you will, I don't know how else to say it better, then we bring the second motion back for the signatures of the amended agreement or lease.
So do you want to rescind your motion or?
I think I would ask for a consensus first before I rescind the motion.
Okay, what's the consensus?
The consensus would be that we forward the assessment to MMR for approval. I guess that's covered in the first motion. So yeah, I'll just rescind my
Rescind it.
motion.
I'll take mine off the table.
Yeah.
I'll take my second off the table.
Yeah, that would be appropriate. Motion 1 passes and second motion rescinded. on MMR approval. Is that good with everybody? Do you think we covered that well enough?
I do.
Heidi, are you happy
Mhm.
with that one?
Yeah.
Ardella?
Mhm.
Okay. Tabled items, none, board comments and discussion.
Traditionally, we get the newsletter out second, third week in April. I'd like to make it the third or fourth week in April. So I would say that the deadline should be the 15th of April to get your information in. I don't know if that gives everybody enough time.
Everybody's so jammed. Maybe we should delay it a little bit. Cause that'd take some pressure off you, take some pressure off her. And I mean, if everybody's jammed because of all these meetings, I mean, does it go out with anything or tax bills going on with it?
Well,
or is it
that's
just a
5 weeks
newsletter?
from now. I would
No,
think
that-
people
the-
can get
this
their
is the
articles
standard
done.
one that goes out.
It's the
And
stamp
that's the
one.
big one.
Right,
Well, that's why it takes more
right.
time.
So that's what I'm saying. Do you want to like delay it a little bit and give yourself a little more time?
No. I don't.
Okay,
Not
Because
further than that, I don't think.
We need to make sure it's out in time for people to get the information about cleanup day
right.
and they need to plan.
Yeah,
You
and
want
when
an
is
ice
cleanup
pack?
day gonna be? We haven't.
Usually same weekend. Sorry, guys, my.
No, I asked if you wanted an
face is
ice
still
pack.
hurting.
Do you want an ice pack?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Can we push you down in the snowbank?
No,
I was just gonna
don't.
go get some snow and put in my glove and give it to her. Here's cold water.
That's not gonna help.
No,
Trust
no,
me.
no, like this.
And not putting cold water in that too. Thank you, but no.
Oh, I didn't think of that way. I just figured it up against your face. So the
Because we will
15th,
start getting calls about cleanup day in early April.
Mhm. I will get all that information. to you
Okay.
guys.
So is that gonna be on our April 12th agenda?
Yes.
And along the side of the conversation with newsletter, I've had a couple of questions. Why doesn't the planning commission put an article in?
You know, Ron, I've asked and asked and asked, and I'm not getting anything. I quit asking.
Okay,
Same thing for, depending on the zoning administrator, some of them always supplied something at least once a year. And I've asked Bob several times and, you know, I wrote the article that introduced him to the township and put his picture in, that kind of thing. I felt that was very appropriate, but I am not going to write,
sure, yeah.
you
No,
know,
that-
same thing for Dawn, the assessor. She puts stuff in. I ask her every time. Usually it's about the same stuff, but it's reminders for people.
Well, would you
Chief
mind?
always gives me something. By the way, Chief, I need something.
I know, I wrote that down.
I wrote it too. Could you make sure that, I noticed that depending on who does the newsletter, my information changes. Can you make sure my information doesn't change, please?
What do you mean by information?
Okay, my phone number and email changes
know.
from newsletter to newsletter.
Well, will you email me exactly what you want it to be?
Mhm,
And I'll make sure it's what you want.
okay.
So do you mind if I extend an invitation to zoning?
Not at all,
And planning?
not at all.
Okay. And if they choose not to address it, then there's our answer,
Mhm.
right?
It's their opportunity to touch every household. It's up to them if they want to utilize it or not.
Yeah. It's a valuable resource.
I think so.
Announcements. Budget work session scheduled for 3/7/2022 and a budget public hearing scheduled for 3/21/2022. Moving into second public comment. Is there any second public comment here in the Township Hall?
Lois McLean, 5919 Linderleaf Lane. Just the planning commission is notified every single time on a newsletter. We've never not asked them. The ARPA funds, I heard something about 2024. And I think that with the way inflation is, if we can not push it off as long as possible, maybe we'll get more value out of the dollars that we do get, because I don't think that they're going to be offering a rate of inflation increase in the amount. So we might have beyond 2024 to use it, but I don't think that it's in the best interest of the township to purposely delay just because we can. That's all.
Any other public comment here in the Township Hall? Okay, I see Connie Highmore with her hand up. I think it's been up for quite a while, Connie, so I hope it's not too tired. Good morning again.
Thank you. Thank you, Whitewater Township Board, for hearing my voice. I want to reiterate my opening statement to you, and I'm sure you will be hearing from me at every meeting. My husband, Frank Highmore, and I are against the proposed condo development on Baggs Road. And I would like to state that we recently purchased an agricultural parcel of land on Baggs Road. That's why this affects us so in such a big way. Before we purchased this land, we did our homework. We reviewed the Whitewater Township master plan because we thought that that was grounds for an opportunity to see what your vision was. And this is an area where we're considering our future retirement home. And we believe that the township master plan showed that we were in the perfect community for our rural peaceful home on almost 10 acres. The proposed condo development that does not fit in with the township master plan. And I'm going to quote a couple of things that are under the master plan goals that are written. Number 1, respect the rights of the township residents and property owners. And a bullet point underneath there states, encourage land uses that are compatible with adjacent land uses. Number 2 states, preserve Whitewater Township's rural character. Bullet point, encourage development that retains or mimics natural features. So those things alone don't fit in, makes the condo development not fit in with the township master plan. So I again implore you to help us with whatever it is that you can to put a stop to this using your master plan as the basis for that argument. So I thank you all so much for your time. It's been a joy listening to what you deem as important in the township. And I think that you're spot on with some of the things that you're doing. And I appreciate every one of you and the time that it takes for you to be involved in the community. So thank you so much. Any questions for me?
None at this time. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And good morning, Amy Haskell. I see that your hand is up as well. Would you care to unmute and provide some public comment?
Yes, hi. I'm actually a neighbor of Connie, and I live directly next to the proposed condo development. I'm on 6699 Baggs Road, Amy and Corey Haskell. I just wanted to say that the subdivision is inconsistent with the other uses of the land in the area. Baggs Road traditionally has large parcels, and this subdivision changes the dynamic of the area. The proposed usage is not consistent with the typical use of the land, nor is it consistent with the master plan of the township. And that's all I wanted to comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Vicky Beam. I see your hand up again.
Good morning. Thank you again for hearing our voices. As both Connie and Amy mentioned, We are all going to be neighbors. We all did our homework before purchasing to buy what we plan to be our final home. We've been in Whitewater Township for quite some time. We love the rural area and feel for it. In addition to what we've already mentioned, when we were part of the planning committee meeting last week, there was a lot of comments made when Sen Brothers building was being refurbished as now a veterinary clinic. And the conversation was about the rural feel, the master plan for that. But yet when it came up to the 22 homes on 30 acres, it was mentioned that that was different. And I'm not sure why that is the case. So that would be something else that I would respectfully ask that the board consider in looking at this. In addition, prior to my husband and I purchasing the property, we walked that entire area. There is definitely water in that area. It almost looks like there's a natural runoff in the spring. So I'm concerned when they start moving dirt, what will that do to the surrounding properties? Will that have an impact upon our properties? There's a lot of traffic there. I think we all realize that on M72, and a lot of people going back and forth to our wonderful public access to access Skigamog Lake. So again, we're going to have at least 22 cars coming onto Baggs Road and adding to the congestion in that area. So again, as was already mentioned, we all thank you. You certainly do put up a lot of your time to help represent those of us in Whitewater Township. And we just ask that you think about this going forward. Thank you again.
Thank you. Good morning, Denise Peltonen.
Good morning. This is for the fire chief. I was wondering, in the past, I've had several times where I've had to locate where to have my home fire extinguishers checked, and then some of them can be recharged and some cannot. Would there be a possibility at the recycling day or a day at the fire department where people could come in and have their home fire extinguishers checked and then recycled? Because I don't even know if you can recycle them. Are they just trash? Or so if they're maybe in the newsletter, even you could put something in about that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Carl. I see you're still with us. Your hand is not up, but do you have any public comment?
I can only comment on the.
Please stay close to your microphone for us.
Yeah, I was interested in the comments about the Baggs Road proposal. And I'm glad that someone caught the nuances of what one member of our commission have basically contradicted themselves in their comment. I'll just let it go with that.
Thank you, Carl. And I see a telephone caller. Good morning, 989-464-7362. Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. I do see another hand go up from someone who already made a public comment. What is the board's pleasure? Should we hear from somebody twice if it's on a different topic, but not the same?
We need to follow the public comment rules.
And so I'm asking what the board's pleasure is. Oh, the hand went down, so, okay. That's all I see. So I will ask for adjournment.
Can I
then.
just ask one thing, please?
Sure.
Lois, could you do us a favor? Could you write down who's on Zoom and then give it to, make sure it gets in the minutes for like the planning committee? Because you don't know, we know who speaks at the podium and we know who's present because we can look out there, but all we get is Zoom. There were 6 people. Would it be a problem to just put who those 6 people were on the Zoom?
That's not required, Heidi. You can get on Zoom and log on there yourself and then you'll know who's on Zoom. That's not
Okay,
required in the
forget it,
minutes.
Cheryl. Forget it. It was forget it. It was just to keep track.
Some of those people may not want their names in the minutes if they're not making any comment.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call when ready.
Penick? Yes. Baumist?
Yes.
Pop?
Yes,
Goss, yes.
at 11:08 a.m.